Have you heard of the third eye, or intuition, or clear knowing? You have heard of clairvoyance, clear hearing, whatever, but clear knowing, it's just that you just look at the situation or you hear something and you're like, it's not exactly like that. You know the feeling, right? But then people tell you you're crazy, you're wrong, or whatever, and then maybe years later, see, I knew it. Well, I will tell you more about this in this video, and how you can start to trust this, and how this can transform your life, make things go this way. So let's dive into this. Like, subscribe, and share. Hi, my name is Lotfi, and today I'm going to share with you something that I may have touched before, but not as directly as now, and which is related to what's happening now and what will keep happening in the world, that is. So you may have heard of the third eye. People point here, but basically it's in the middle. It's your pineal gland. You may find a lot about it, about how fluoride is making it calcify, which, whatever you believe, is not healthy if something in your body is calcifying. And what the third eye does is helping you see clearly. It's like reading between the lines, that kind of clarity. So if your third eye is open, maybe it has been open all your life, maybe it is just opening now, then you may start to see things and like, no, that's not what they're saying. I mean, they're saying it, but it's not true. Or that's not what they mean. And you start to see things others are not seeing. You start to recognize patterns. And yes, people may say you're a conspiracy theorist because you start connecting dots that those people who still have their eyes closed are still asleep. That's what they call being asleep. Don't see. So you may hear politicians talk, and you hear them talk from both sides, and you're like, yeah, it's all lies. You may see a video. Maybe you've actually seen my post about how the media has been twisting and actually turning things 180 degrees to make the aggressors look like they were the victims in Amsterdam very recently. They call it hooligans, football supporter. People call it a Jew hunt, crystal night, whatever. I shared that video because it really triggered me the injustice button. Yes, I still have buttons that can get triggered. I do meditate regularly, blah, 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 but still certain things will still get me like, Rrr. And the moment I heard about what happened, I felt something was wrong. And then I saw some images and I was like, they're lying. And I saw all the reactions of the media, of the politicians. And like, no, things are wrong. And then I saw like, oh, but wait. Straight after the football match, the police went home. Well, that's not how it's supposed to be when you have had the evening before the problems with the supporters. So I started connecting dots. And I had a discussion with a cousin of mine. Yeah, and these people are always doing these things. And I was like, yeah, but they may have done something now, but they were attacked. So they defended themselves, or they reacted. Maybe it was not the best way to react, but they did react to something that happened to them. And then I saw this video, I was like, see? I knew it. And this is not the first time. Many years ago, I was working in a corporation and I had this general manager and I didn't trust him. And I knew he was corrupt. I didn't have proof, but I sensed it. So I started digging. Took a while, but several years later I was being proven right. Well, even one of my closest friends at the time was telling me I was crazy, I was imagining things. Why would that guy care about me, worry about me, and make it his personal business to shove me out of the company? Well, because I was in the work council and I was digging into the shitty mess he was creating to prove that he was corrupt. Because his corruption was not in the best interest of the workers, my colleagues, and the clients. And it took a while, but I was proven right. On all points. Everything I had said that the guy was guilty of has been proven. It took a while. And somebody finished my work because I left the company at a certain moment. The guy pushed me out and he paid me to leave because he had nothing against me, because I was not corrupt like he was. But he was kicked out. Actually, within 3 months after I left the company. I will never forget that moment. I was in my next job. I was having my lunch break and I get this call from this guy who said, "We're not having this conversation. I'm not calling you now, but Mr. X has just been fired for corruption and some stuff." And then a few years later, actually not just a few years, 10 years later, just before leaving the country, I met the guy who finished my work. It was like 1 or 2 days before leaving the country. And I meet this guy in the train. And he's like, "Yeah, you know, that guy." "Yeah, of course. Yeah. I caught him on that. Gave me the whole list. I was like, "Yeah, I knew. Yeah, and how about that? Yeah, that too. And about that? Yeah, that too, and that too, and that too." And then he added a few more things. And I was like, and this is not an ego thing. And I'm telling you, it is that I got confirmation that what I deeply knew, what I was seeing, just like with the video about the hooligans, that it was correct, that I was seeing things right. Even though people around me were telling me I was imagining things, I was crazy. It was a conspiracy theory, which, by the way, is a term invented by the CIA to attack people who actually see what the CIA is doing and discredit them by calling them conspiracy theorists. Basically, it's an insult to say conspiracy theorists. The moment somebody says, but you see a conspiracy here, basically it's saying you're crazy. But a conspiracy theorist is just somebody who can connect the dots, somebody who has the third eye open, who can see what's really happening. And by the way, most of the conspiracies that have been out there have been proven to be right, not debunked, proven to be right. At least, maybe not most, maybe I'm wrong here, but at least a whole long list of gigantic conspiracies, very dark ones, very horrible ones. How the US military government experimented on its own citizens by poisoning them. That's just one thing, but there's a whole list. So, if you're seeing things that other people tell you they're not there, if you feel it in here, if you just see it very clearly, know that it's true. And it may take a while before others can see it. But that's not the important thing, that they see it. You see it, so you know what to do. You know what kind of decisions to take, because you always have choices in life. And you can base your choices on what you know. Just like when you have a job interview and you just know, like, no, this person, or like the CV is like, I'm talking to the person, best candidate. You know, it's not on the papers. It's not what the person said. It's a feeling that you have. Same way, if you're going on a job interview somewhere, and you may even not like what you read, or I had ones that I didn't understand what was written. I mean, there was a lot of gibberish there. I was reading it, I had no clue what they were talking about. Still today, I cannot tell you in detail what was written in that job description. I know what they eventually meant because I did the job. But anyway, 2 days after I started, it was already 50% of it was already out of the window. I mean, I was already 50% doing something else. But I felt I had to go. Something in me told me, go. You have no clue what they're talking about. It may be much higher than the experience you have. Although later I understood that I had the right experience, because I had in 2 different jobs, I had the 2 experiences that when you put them together, I could do the job. And when I had the job interview, where I sat down with someone and I heard, oh, it's a guy, it's an American, and we were just in the period of George W. Bush being president and stuff at the end of his term. And in Europe, our view on Americans was like, oh, I mean, yeah, because that was what we were seeing from America. We were seeing George W. Bush with saying stupid things and whatever. So, oh, in America, oh. But then when I sat down with the guy, my impression was like, oh, he's a fake American. He's more a European. Meaning, he's a guy who has something between the ears. He has a brain. He actually has a heart. And so it confirmed to me that it was a good decision to go and sit down with the guy. And we had an amazing talk. And the guy didn't want to talk about what was in my CV because he had already read it. He wanted to know about me. It was much later that I understood why he chose to sit with me and why he chose to hire me. And in the process, he also wanted me to sit with every one of the team members that I had to work with and that would work under me. One-on-one with all of them. And then he asked me for feedback. And out of the 4 people who would work under me, and one of them I said, he needs to go out. It took a while before I managed to get the guy out. He went. But he saw the potential. He felt. And I also felt. We both felt like here's a potential here. And yes, I had the first 3 months that were difficult. So we had a tough talk. But after 6 months, I got a promotion. I got a huge raise in my salary because after 3 months we had a tough talk. And in that talk, he basically told me, just be yourself. Don't try to be somebody you're not. Just be yourself and you'll be fine. Because it was a very new environment for me. And at the end of the talk, I shook his hand. I mean, it was him telling me, if you keep going this way, within 3 months, you won't be here. And I shook his hand and said, thank you. And I went home and I looked back like, I have no idea what to change. And then a voice inside of me said, just be yourself. Do the best you can by just being yourself, and you'll see. If they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. And that's how this happened. So it was always that inner voice, but it was always also me being able to see things. So I saw the bigger picture. I saw what was looming out there, what's want to come on our path. So I took on projects because I felt we had to go that direction. I could not see exactly where we were going, but I could feel the direction. I had the third eye open already. Not as I have it today, not as open, and also not being aware of it, that there was a third eye, that I didn't know I had some intuition that could sense if somebody's okay or not, which is also a third eye thing. And that I had from young age. 9 out of 10 or even 99 out of 100 times I would be right if I would say, this person is good, I want this person in my life, or not. Whether it's a co-worker, girlfriend, whatever. People in general could feel like, stay there, or like, yeah, welcome, let's talk. So trust what you know, what you see, what you feel, and you will see how your life will transform. Feel free to share your experiences in the comments. Feel free to ask questions if you still have questions. If you want to open your third eye more, just like I have done, and you want some support in that, contact me. I can help you. Looking forward to hearing from you, and see you in the next video. Have a wonderful day. Like, subscribe, and share.